Hi, Pavanji. Good morning. Namaste. Um, we are in this initiation of this program where we are ready to study our bedside best friend, our living best friend, the Living Hanuman book. The book is really amazing and it's intense and it has in-depth knowledge of so many varieties of the Vedas that I have come across personally. But today we are here to, I think, discuss in detail the beautiful meaning from the various angles you have shed light on every single word in that book. So we want to go in in an order to understand from the beginning to the end verse how we kind of embody the living version of Sri Hanumanji in our lifestyle, in our very being at cellular level, and obviously radiating it outwards as well in our actions and behavior, which I do see in the book. You have covered every angle, the internal, the external, and the interpersonal and the intrapersonal, all of it. Okay, so I will read out the doha and the meaning, and I would request that you give us a brief synopsis of the meaning. So the first doha begins with Shri Guru Charana Saroj Raj Nij Manu Mukur Sudhari Baranau Raghubar Bimal Jasu Jo Dayak Falchari. And you have written such a beautiful meaning. I wish in my childhood we were made to understand this. Dusting the mirror of my mind with the golden dust, Guru's grace help me find fruit giving light I must. And there is a small in point you have mentioned, which is like an affirmation which one can use every day, saying, I am aware of the luminous presence of my Guru within, and I commune with him continuously. So please tell us some descriptive meaning of this doha.
Yes. One thing is that all the dohas have been translated in a poetic form, in poem forms, so that people who do not understand Hindi or who understand only English can enjoy the same essence in a poetic form uh, as it was originally written about 500 years ago by Sant Tulsi Das ji. And this is Hanuman Chalisa. It comprises 40 quatrains, which are known as chopais,
Yeah.
and three dohas, uh, uh, called them couplets. So in total, about 43 verses in total. And they are written in a very simple way. Uh, they form what is known as Sri Hanuman Chalisa, which is which is the most popular hymn, which is sung by over a billion people who practice Hinduism across the world, and for 5 centuries now. It's a popular hymn. You are aware of it. It's a beautiful hymn and it has layers and layers of meaning in it. We'll try to be as brief as possible. So the first doha you said is Shri Guru Charan Saroj Raj. Shri Guru Charan Saroj Raj. Shri means everything that is great, that is benevolent, that is benefic. It's a word which is used as a title for a man and a woman in India, like Mr. or Mrs. And the British Queen knights a person. When a person is knighted, he is known as Sir. Sir is a derivative of Shri. Shri means in Italian what it means bene, anything beneficial, everything great. Shri Guru Charan Saroj Raj, such benevolent, benefic Guru. Guru stands for the principle operating in the universe. Each one of us learns because there is someone asking us to learn from within. There's a learning principle. There's knowledge and experiences are transmitted from one generation to other, from one person to another. Guru here Simple translation, spiritual master. Otherwise, the very learning principle, Shri Guru Charan. Charan means foot. Charan means feet, feet of the Guru. In the Vedic tradition, it is a tradition to go down to the feet of elders, to go down to touch the feet of the Guru. This is a tradition. Here also, the poet or the devotee is touching the feet of the Guru, invoking the feet of the Guru. Charan. Saroj Raj. Saroj. Saroj means a lotus flower. Raj means the dust of the lotus flower. So the pollen dust of the lotus flower. So here it is saying, Shri Guru Charan Saroj Raj. With the pollen dust of the lotus feet, lotus-like feet of my master. So the dust of the Guru's feet is just not inert particles of earth. It is the pollen dust. It is being referred to as the pollen dust, dust who has potency to create life, to give life, to fill a whole pond with lotuses. Such dust of the Guru's feet. With that, Nij man mukura sudhar. Nij, mind, man, mind, mukuru, mirror, sudhar, cleaning. So with the golden pollen dust of the lotus feet of my benefic Guru, I am cleaning the mirror of my mind. Cleaning, dusting, cleaning, clearing the mirror of my mind with the lotus pollen dust of the lotus feet of my Guru. Shri Guru Charan Saroj Raj Nijman Mukur Sudhar. Barnau Raghuvar Vimal Jaso. Barnau, I'm describing Raghuvar Vimal Jaso. Raghuvar commonly is translated as Sri Ram. But here it would mean, Raghuvar would mean somebody who belongs to the Raghu dynasty. And people normally presume that to be Sri Ram, but in this case, we have to remember that Hanumanji was in one way the adopted son of Sita ji. Sita ji adopted him, called him my son, and he called her my mother. So Raghuvar here is Hanumanji. Barno Raghuvar, I'm describing Hanumanji. Who is he? He is Vimal Jaso. He is a glory which is unblemished. In the story of Hanumanji, there is not one aspect of his life story which is stained or tainted by any doubt or aspersion that can be cast on. In another way, if we interpret it, and we think that Raghuvar means Ram, then this would mean that I'm describing the blemishless glory of Sri Ram, who is Hanuman. So Raghuvar Vimal Jasam is a full description of Hanuman. And what does he do? Why am I doing it? Who is he? Who is Hanuman? Jo Dayaku Kalchar. Hanuman is the one who gives the 4 fruits. The 4 fruits are commonly known in the Vedic tradition as the 4 aspirations or the 4 purushartha or the 4 types of efforts that one puts and therefore gets those 4 fruits. And these 4 fruits are dharma, that means the fruit of duty, of doing one's work, of usefully, purposefully engaged and included in one's environment, in one's society. Dharma. Dharma not in the sense of religion, but dharma in the sense of dutiful engagement with one's life. Dharma. So the four fruits are dharma, artha. Artha means finances. Artha also means meaning, you can say. Arth means meaning. Something that adds meaning to my life. But here, earth would mean meaning in the sense of money. Money and meaning. In today's time, money adds meaning to the life. So earth would mean money, finances, dharma, artha, kama. Kama means desires, pursuing desires, fulfillment of desires is our birthright. As human beings, we are born to fulfill our desires, justful, rightful desires, and derive pleasure out of it. So desires are referred here as kama and moksha. Finally, liberation from the cycle, repetitive cycle of being born and then dying, being born and dying, repetitive cycles of being coming to earth and getting out of it, to be liberated from that. To be liberated from, or in other words, to be liberated from the notion that I am someone who is born and someone who dies. This notion itself, to be liberated from that notion and be stabilized in the feeling of being an eternal consciousness. That moksha, being a liberated being while alive. So dharma, artha, kama, moksha. In the book, I have described various other ways in which the same four fruits are to be interpreted, but these will be the simple interpretation. So the doha is that I, with the lotus feet, with the dust of the lotus feet of my Guru, I cleanse the mirror of my mind. Cleansing the mirror of my mind is the operative word here. Such that I am able to behold and describe. I'm able to behold it in the mirror of my mind. Whom do I behold? I behold the Supreme Being, Hanumanji himself, in the mirror of my mind. Before this, when there was dust on the mirror of my mind, I was not able to see him. Once I've cleaned the dust from the mirror of my mind, I can behold and describe Hanumanji, and from him, I shall receive all the four fruits of my life, of performance, of excellence at work, of duty, of progress in terms of financial and social progress, of enjoying and indulging all my senses in rightful enjoyment, and finally liberation from the notion that I am the enjoyer, I am the doer, I am this and that, but to be stabilized in my own eternal self. And therefore, the subtitle of the book is also known as A Journey from a Selfie to the Self. From a selfie to the self. That journey will get accomplished. And the first verse establishes that.
Very beautifully, you have given several examples, and I have read it and I have highlighted it. You have given several examples, and the most beautiful one, I think, for every one of us is the differentiation we have between calling someone a guru. So you have given the breakdown of the word guru, like gu means darkness and ru means light, the journey from darkness to light. Often we all kind of want to see the word guru in a person only, but this book tells you about how to allow the grace of your higher consciousness or the supreme consciousness to flow through you. And one of the things that you have quoted, which I really loved and I have highlighted it twice, is learning begins with the first step of surrendering to the guru energy and having the intent to learn. And that you have quoted from the Gita in this first verse. And there are many examples which we cannot cover right now. But I also see that towards the end of the first verse, you have mentioned 2-3 different things, like you have given an Ayurvedic practice associated to eating the lotus seeds, and how it is very calming and cooling for the digestive system, which is again related to the lotus. We're talking about the lotus dust of the guru's feet. You have also associated it to a yoga pose, which is the Padmasana or the Sukhasana for people who are not very proactively flexible for yoga. And then towards the end, there is this very interesting interactive part where you have mentioned 4 questions. And like you said, that the subtitle of the book is like, it's a journey. So in that aspect, you have given 4 questions, 4 or 5, depending on each verse, in which you have asked questions. For example, I would also like to ask this question: how can I scrub and clean my mind, and of what? And can I begin a mantra practice of my choice? So if you would just like to answer, there are 4 or 5 questions, but if you would just like to answer this, how can I scrub and clean my mind?
Yes. So remember, it is given in the verse itself with the dust, the pollen dust of the Guru's lotus feet. Now, when I was a child, I remember we would actually pick up the dust where the Guru would be and rub it on our head like that. That also works. But here, the dust of the Guru's feet is his teachings. So his teachings would be the teachings and learnings that you gather in your books. Whatever speaks to you, to use that and repeatedly run it over on your mind to first gain that information and that knowledge, and then meditate upon that, and then to become that. That's the process of cleaning the mirror. So Shravana, Manana, Nidhi Dhyasana. These are the 3 stages. Shravan means listening to the knowledge. Listening also means reading, listening, seeing a YouTube on some knowledge. And then Manana. Manana means to run it in the mind again and again, to the extent that you begin to practice it and becomes a part of your life. You become fragrant with that knowledge. That is how the mirror of the mind is cleansed.
Okay. One of the other question is, which is a question for self, of course. Throughout the book, the questions are intended for you to answer. How can I become great and experience being Shri? How can I become the best, which only I can become? So if you could just like to give 1 or 2 lines on that.
Yes. How can I become my best? Normally, we don't ask that question to ourselves.
Yes.
When you ask that question, you alone will get an answer. You know, a very good quote I remember here from Pablo Picasso. He said, to know your gift is the meaning of your life, and to give it away, its purpose. So, what am I gifted with? What are my strengths? How can I become better and better in those areas in which I'm strong? And even in the areas that I'm not, what can I do? What help do I need? Who do I talk to? What are those areas? First, to identify that. And then how do I build it up? For example, if I would say that I don't have great stamina to jog, let us say, for example, then how can I become better at it? Can I talk to somebody? Can I begin with a small practice? Can I do some breathing practices before that? What can I do? And then to practice it till I become that. So though the question is very small, but it's like a seed to trigger you in that direction. You will keep on answering this question for the next 1 year. You can keep adding your answer to that. How can I become great? And what is the meaning of greatness to yourself? And it is an answer that you have to give to yourself. What does great mean to you?
Yes, there is this beautiful part where you talk about how the dust and the pollen of the lotus Guru is not only to bless you, but also to germinate in you the awareness. So there are several, I think that I thought that, I will read the chapter and, we will have a discussion, but every line holds a very in-depth meaning. So you primarily are telling us and the viewers and the readers to start with the in-journey process where you question and then you find, right? So thank you for enlightening us on this. And I would like to close it with your quote from the book, in which you have quoted the Mirza Ghalib ji, saying that I spent my entire life repeating the same mistake, Ghalib says. I kept dusting the mirror when in fact the dust covered my face. That is very, very beautifully said. And thank you for telling us the first verse. We will do a series where we can really understand the in-depth meaning. Thank you.
Thank you.